Jordan's retirement. When Michael Jordan announced his retirement in 1993, the world froze. The greatest player alive, walking away in his prime. Officially, it was about pursuing baseball to honor his late father, but the whispers said otherwise. Rumors spread that Jordan's retirement was really a secret suspension for gambling, a quiet punishment hidden behind a PR move. David Stern denied it, but the timing was eerie. Jordan left right after his third straight title, and only months after his name appeared in gambling investigations. Whether it was grief or league politics, the NBA lost its biggest star overnight. Chicago went from dynasty to dazed, and fans were left wondering if they'd ever see him again. And what happened when he finally returned only made his absence even more legendary. Len Bias Overdose. Just 2 days after being drafted second overall by the Celtics, Len Bias was gone. He was supposed to carry Boston into the next decade, a perfect mix of Magic's charisma and Jordan's power. But the celebration never ended. Bias's sudden passing shook the league to its core and exposed how out of control the drug culture around athletes had become. Teams tightened player programs, the NBA implemented random testing, and universities faced national scrutiny. It wasn't just the loss of a player, it was the death of potential. Every highlight reel, every what-if conversation about the Celtics' future leads back to him. Boston could have ruled the 1990s, but instead, Bias became the cautionary tale that every young star still hears about today. The Western Conference scandal. The 2002 Western Conference Finals was supposed to define an era, but instead, it nearly destroyed faith in the league. Game 6 between the Lakers and Kings remains one of the most suspicious nights in NBA history. The whistle never stopped. Phantom fouls, missed calls, and uneven free throws turned what should have been Sacramento's coronation into chaos. Years later, referee Tim Donaghy claimed the game was influenced by higher-ups wanting a longer series. The NBA called it nonsense, but the damage was done. Fans saw basketball's purity replaced by conspiracy. Kings players said it felt like fighting two teams at once, the Lakers and the refs. Sacramento never recovered. It was basketball's darkest officiating night, and its echo still haunts every close playoff call. Kobe's crash, Kobe Bryant's death in January 2020 shook the world. On a foggy morning outside Los Angeles, Kobe, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others boarded a helicopter headed to a youth basketball tournament. The chopper crashed in Calabasas, killing everyone aboard. It was more than the loss of a global icon. It exposed how fragile life is, even for legends. Lakers fans wept. Teammates, rivals, kids in gyms, and millions who grew up watching Kobe felt the blow. The NBA and sports media paused. Tributes streamed for days. The tragedy also raised questions about helicopter safety, decision-making in bad weather, and risk management for public figures. Kobe's crash wasn't just shocking. It rewrote how the world sees legacies and mortality all at once. The Donald Sterling scandal. In 2014, recordings leaked of Clippers owner Donald Sterling making racist remarks to his girlfriend about not bringing black people to games. The public eruption was immediate. Players threatened to boycott. The Clippers nearly refused to take the court. For decades, Sterling had been known as one of the NBA's worst owners, but this crossed a line the league couldn't ignore. Commissioner Adam Silver banned him for life and forced him to sell the team, a punishment that shocked the sports world. It wasn't just about Sterling, it was about how long he'd been protected. The scandal forced the NBA to finally confront its culture of silence around power and money. But first, only cool people are subscribed to this channel, so hit that subscribe button before we go any further. The Stepien Rule. In the early 1980s, Cleveland Cavaliers owner Ted Stepien was trading first-round draft picks like they were raffle tickets. Year after year, he gave away the future for average players, leaving the Cavs talentless and hopeless. It got so bad that the NBA literally stepped in and created a new rule, the Stepien Rule, to prevent owners from trading consecutive first-round picks. It was the only time the league had to protect a team from its own incompetence. Stepien's moves buried the franchise for half a decade and made Cleveland the poster child for front office disasters. The rule still exists today, proof that one man's bad decisions reshaped how the entire NBA operates. It wasn't corruption or scandal, it was pure, catastrophic stupidity that changed league policy forever. The Monta Ellis crash. In 2008, Warriors star Monta Ellis had just signed a massive contract when he called the team to report an injury. He claimed it happened during off-season training, but that was a lie. The truth? He'd wrecked his ankle in a moped crash, something strictly banned in his contract. When the team found out, they suspended him 30 games without pay, and his reputation never recovered. Ellis was supposed to be Golden State's future before the Curry era. Instead, the accident marked the beginning of his downfall. Fans mocked him, management lost faith, and he went from centerpiece to trade bait overnight. What made it worse was how preventable it was. One bad decision off the court changed everything, showing how fast superstardom can skid completely out of control. The Nets super team. When Brooklyn built the super team of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, it looked unstoppable on paper. 3 MVP-level talents sharing the court, but egos, injuries, and chaos quickly tore it apart. Kyrie's off-court standoffs, Harden's conditioning issues, and Durant's frustration turned the dream into dysfunction. They played fewer than 20 games together before the implosion began. By 2023, all 3 were gone, and Brooklyn had nothing left but regret. What was meant to rival the Warriors dynasty became one of the biggest flops in sports history. The NBA hyped it as a new era, but instead, it proved that chemistry beats star power. The what-if team of the decade collapsed faster than any fan or executive could believe. If you like this video, consider watching this next one, which YouTube thinks you are going to really love. The Knicks' Isiah Thomas Era. When Isiah Thomas took over the New York Knicks, he inherited dysfunction and somehow made it worse. His tenure as president and coach became a masterclass in chaos. Bad trades, locker room feuds, and a sexual harassment lawsuit that cost Madison Square Garden $11.5 million. Players complained about favoritism, coaches clashed with him, and the team missed the playoffs year after year, despite having one of the league's highest payrolls. The Knicks became a punchline. What made it sting most was that Thomas was a Hall of Famer, once one of the smartest guards ever, but his front office moves turned New York's legacy into a circus. It wasn't just failure, it was humiliation broadcast on national TV every night, a perfect storm of ego and incompetence. Reggie Lewis. Reggie Lewis was supposed to be Boston's next great star. Smooth, humble, and quietly dominant, he carried the Celtics through the early 1990s. But in 1993, tragedy struck. Lewis collapsed during a playoff game with what doctors later called a heart defect. After being cleared by a personal physician, he returned to practice, only to collapse again and never wake up. The Celtics' entire organization was devastated. His death raised questions about the medical staff, the pressure to return too soon, and how teams handled player health at the time. Boston lost not just a captain, but a cornerstone. Decades later, Lewis is still remembered for what could have been, a star who never got the chance to fulfill the promise everyone saw coming. The 1999 Lockout. The first major NBA lockout in history wasn't just about money, it was about power. Players and owners clashed for 204 days over salary caps, rookie deals, and profit sharing. By the time it ended, fans had lost interest, rookies missed development time, and players were out millions. The season was slashed to just 50 games, and the league's image took a massive hit. Small market teams suffered, superstars like Michael Jordan retired again, and television ratings tanked. What should have been an era of prosperity after the Bulls dynasty turned into bitterness and mistrust. It revealed how fragile the balance of the NBA really was. One labor dispute away from collapse. Even when the season resumed, the shadow of greed and division hung over everything. The 2011 lockout. You'd think the league would have learned from 1999, but history repeated itself. In 2011, another lockout hit, this time sparked by escalating salaries and profit disputes. Billionaire owners claimed losses while players fought to protect their cut. It lasted 161 days, wiping out months of games. Fans were furious, especially since both sides were richer than ever. When basketball finally returned, it felt corporate, fractured, and joyless. The shortened season reshaped careers. Derrick Rose's injury, LeBron's redemption, and a rushed schedule that burned out players. It proved the NBA could stop itself more effectively than any rival ever could. The Baylor Lawsuit. Few things shocked fans more than when Hall of Famer Elgin Baylor sued the Los Angeles Clippers for discrimination in 2009. Baylor claimed years of mistreatment from owner Donald Sterling and alleged a pattern of racism and retaliation inside the organization. The lawsuit exposed one of the NBA's ugliest open secrets, Sterling's toxic control long before the infamous tapes. Baylor, once one of the league's most respected figures, was humiliated and silenced for years before finally speaking out. It painted the Clippers as one of the most dysfunctional franchises in sports, where greatness was buried under corruption. Baylor's courage helped pave the way for Sterling's eventual downfall years later. The broken floorboards. During a 1985 game in Kansas City, the unthinkable happened. The court itself broke. The Kings and Sixers were mid-play when a large section of the floor literally collapsed, sending players stumbling as the hardwood caved in. The cause? A faulty support structure and poor arena maintenance. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. The NBA immediately began investigating arena standards and eventually forced upgrades across multiple venues. It was a bizarre reminder of how unpolished the league once was. $million-dollar athletes risking injury on unsafe floors. Fans joked about it at first, but for the players involved, it was terrifying. Drazen Petrovich. Before Luka and Jokic, there was Drazen Petrovich, the original European superstar. A sharpshooting guard with fire in his eyes, Petrovich had just made All-NBA third team and was proving that international players could dominate the league. But in 1993, tragedy struck. Driving home from a tournament in Germany, Petrovich died in a highway crash at only 28 years old. His career was just hitting its peak, and his loss devastated both the Nets and European basketball. Fans in Croatia still light candles every June in his memory. Drazen's death wasn't just personal. It changed the course of NBA globalization. His story remains one of the most heartbreaking chapters in NBA history. If you liked this video, consider watching this next one, which YouTube thinks you are going to really love.